Buck Rizvi here, Survival Dad. I'm here on the front range on a beautiful fall day, and I'm putting together a very rapid-fire video to show you what is exactly in my Survival Dad bug-out bag, my 72-hour bug-out bag that everyone should have prepared. This is what I call my level 1 bag. I'll talk about what I might include in level 2 and level 3, but I think this is the basic kit, and what I have here when I flip the video around is the backpack fully loaded minus two things. Minus the water that I'm going to carry, and I'll explain why in just a moment, and minus the sidearm that I'm going to carry. I'm going to show you that in a moment as well. So why don't we get to it? I'm going to flip the video around and show you what the kit looks like fully packed, and then we'll break it down and see what's inside. See you there. I've got the video turned around here, and what I have is my Kelty Red Cloud 90. It's a 90-liter backpack. It's larger than many other backpacks you see on the market, and I'm glad I chose a backpack this size because I got to tell you, it is packed to the gills. It tips the scales at just over 48 pounds, and 48.1 pounds to be exact. So a little less than the 50-pound rucksack that you hear about military folks carrying around. It is a bit heavy, so this is the pack that you would want a survival dad to be carrying, probably not a survival mom or one of the kids carrying, obviously. So why don't we break it down? I've got here, as you see, as I mentioned, I've got the backpack fully loaded, except for the water, which I'll get into a moment, and my sidearm. So let's start breaking it down and look at the individual components. In some cases I'll shoot this via live video, in some cases I'll show you some still photos of the individual items. So let's get to it. Okay, first up is you want to have some kind of survival guide or survival handbook. My favorite is the SAS Survival Handbook by John Lofty Wiseman. I love that name. I'm going to be very quickly two reasons why you want to have this. Number one, form factor. It's easy to carry. Pound for pound or ounce for ounce. You're not going to find a survival guide with more information per ounce than you'll find in the SAS Survival Handbook. And it's written by a gentleman who spent 26 years in the SAS, or Special Air Service, which is an elite unit of the British Army. And it's got amazing illustrations. Some of them are full color and very well indexed, easy to get access to the information that you need. So you definitely want to have a copy of this in your bug out bag. Let's move on to the first pocket of the bug out bag and see what's inside. Okay, we're going to go through this pocket by pocket. So I've opened up the side pocket here, and now I'm looking at what I would call, oops, my bag almost fell over. I have what I would call my communication and navigation kit. And first thing in here is a radio, and this radio is special in that it's AM, FM, shortwave weather, and it's powered by both an internal battery and a hand crank, as well as a solar cell. In addition, it has a built-in flashlight, plus the ability to, if I open up the side here, it has some USB connections that I can connect a cell phone to and charge the cell phone using things like the solar panel. So a very powerful little kit that you want to have with you, self-contained and self-powered. In addition, from a navigation standpoint, I have a self-contained GPS unit. And by self-contained, I mean it's not like an iPhone that it requires an internet connection. You know, you ever call up Siri or try to bring up Google Maps or something, and you can't because you're out of cell range. You don't have the problem with a self-contained GPS unit. This is the Garmin GPS Map 62 ST. You don't necessarily need something this sophisticated. I do like it because it has a built-in mapping system, and it just makes it easier to use. In addition, I've got the old-fashioned compass and map. So you want to have definitely a compass. I've got a little higher-end GI grade Comenga Model 3H. I'll include links to all of this with this video, so you can grab these if you'd like. And very, very important. I know it's a big piece of paper and big volume here, but I've got the DeLorme Atlas and Gazetteer. You want to have something of this caliber for your state or your location. So it's got topographic maps, it's got back roads, it's got GPS coordinates, it's got really everything you need to get around in the state of your choice or wherever you are in the world. You obviously want to grab the version for your particular region. And that's it for communication and navigation. Let's move on to the next pocket. Okay, I've just opened up the hip pocket here, and this is a nifty little pocket. It's actually on both sides of the backpack, and this pocket basically enables me to eliminate the need for carrying a man purse. It's got quite a bit of space inside, and what I've decided to put in the right hand pocket are some personal defense items, and a couple of other things. So let's start with the signaling mirror. This is a sort of military-grade signaling mirror. I'll include a link for all of these along with this video. I have some basic hand sanitizer. I think personal hygiene is going to be a critical component of your bug out bag. I have several components that are part of hygiene. Hand sanitizer is one of them, small bottle of that. For personal defense, I think this is vitally important. I've got several items, but a couple key items here. I've got pepper spray, and this is a very high quality, highly recommended type of pepper spray called the Inferno Cold Steel. And I think this is the 2.5 ounce size container, and it fits very nicely in the hip pocket here. And in addition to this, I have one of my personal favorites. This is my Glock 17. For a bug out scenario, I might have my Glock 17, which has a bit more firepower than my concealed carry favorite, which is the Glock 19. And you notice that I've got 3 magazines. I've got the magazine in the weapon itself, as well as 2 loaded magazines that I can carry with me. And along with that, I've got a very simple holster, which is the Glock style holster. Very simple, very lightweight, easy to carry. So I think it's very important that you do consider carrying a firearm and that you do have enough firepower in that firearm. By firepower, I mean that it's sufficient caliber, size, and that you have enough ammunition in your magazines. In my case, if you take a look at this particular magazine, it is not loaded. You'll notice that it says that there are 17 rounds that I can put in each of these magazines. So 17 times 3 plus 1 in the chamber gives me a substantial amount of firepower. And when you're dealing with a bug out situation where you're protecting yourself and your family members, and you're maybe up against more than one opponent, that could be the vital difference. So that's it for this particular side pocket. Let's move on to the next pocket. Okay, moving on, we have opened up the other side pocket, and I have what I would call my tools, fire, and light kit. Starting here on the left, I've got a Swiss Army Trekker blade, which has both a standard long a serrated blade, plus several other tools, screwdrivers, Phillips head, etc. This comes with its own nice carrying case. In addition, I've got a more extensive toolkit in my Leatherman multi-tool, and this is a MUT brand multi-tool. This is one of their higher end units. I know they make units that are much less expensive, probably 1/3 the cost, so you can kind of decide what level you want to go with. This particular tool will also be handy for taking down and putting back together an AR-15, which is the reason I chose it. In addition to that, I've got a few lighting options. I've got a mini mag LED flashlight, and I've got a headlamp, and I think this is a 7-lamp Energizer headlamp, very bright, got multiple settings, including a red light setting for nighttime to make it a little less obvious for people to see you from a distance. And in addition to that, I've got some old-fashioned lighting. I've got a very nice collapsible lantern here that is candle powered, and this is a 9-hour candle that will store really nicely back into the backpack. For fire options, I've got a couple. I've got the Swiss Fire Steel, and I can use this little metal piece against the magnesium here to generate sparks. And I've decided my little trick is to save dryer lint, and I would recommend that you do the same. So anytime you got some dryer lint, this stuff goes up like no tinder you've seen, and especially if you add a little bit of Vaseline into it. So I carry a stick of Vaseline lip balm there. I put that onto the dryer lint, and that catches fire very, very quickly. Keep that in a nice plastic bag along with your magnesium steel, and away you go. In addition to that, I've got a traditional waterproof container with some matches that I carry. So I always, having fire is critical. Having heat is critical at certain times, as you know, as well as for taking care of yourself, as well as for cooking. Keeping your body temperature up as well as cooking. So you want to make sure you have a few options. You have some redundancy here. So I've got the waterproof container, I've got the magnesium steel, and in addition to that, of course, I need to eat. So I decided to go with a spork option. This is titanium, extremely light. It's got a little serrated end here for a knife, so I've got the knife, fork, and spoon all in one. Really nice. And then moving on to my sharp edge instruments. I'm carrying, and I put this into the webbing I have two web sides. I put the axe into the webbing here, and I kind of like Fiskars. I've been a fan of Fiskars scissors for a long time, so I decided to go with their camping hatchet, and I've not been disappointed. I did take it camping recently. I used it. I made a boo-boo, and I nicked the edge when I was chopping some wood, but other than that, I've been very, very happy with it. It comes with its nice little holder, which makes it much easier to carry. And then finally, I think everyone needs their Rambo-style survival knife. And this, I've been a fan of Gerber since I was a kid. I bought my first Gerber blade probably when I was 12 years old, and so it's hard for me not to go back to them. This is a very nice, feels great, beefy in your hands. It has a lot of cool options which you can check out. I'll provide the link, and I think there's a video for the product on Amazon.com, but it just feels like a very substantial piece, extremely sharp. This was the knife that we took camping, and we basically used exclusively for cutting vegetables and just everything in and around the campsite when we went camping recently here in Colorado. So I love it. It's got a nice carrier, a sheath. In addition, it's got its own magnesium steel, so I can use the back edge of it to generate sparks and start a fire as well. So I would consider this to be a great addition to anyone's bug out bag. So with that, I think we've covered, oh, I missed one item, and that was actually in the previous video, but since we're talking about fire and light here, I've got a nice photon mini light, what's called the micro light, and I've attached that to the zipper of one of my side hip pockets. And this light is, you really can't see it here, but at night, this is as bright or brighter than the light that's on my iPhone. And this light will last for hours. I think it's rated to 12 to 17 hours. So you're really not going to burn it out anytime soon. Plus it has replaceable batteries. So I highly recommend carrying these on your key rings and attaching this to various points on your bug out bag, which I've done here. Okay, that's it. Let's move on to the next pouch. Okay, next up we've got food and hydration. So for food, my preference is to stick with things such as freeze-dried foods, prepackaged freeze-dried foods, and granola bars, which is what I have here. So I've got several options in terms of freeze-dried foods. They're very lightweight, they're very easy to reconstitute with some water, and quick, easy, and very tasty as well. I've tested a number of these already in a recent camping trip, and they actually taste absolutely delicious. A couple brands that I like, the Alpine Air brand I've tested, and my wife has some gluten sensitivity. They do have some gluten-free options, which is kind of nice. And then I've also tried the Backpacker's Pantry, which has some tasty options as well. You can find these on Amazon.com, as well as places like REI and Cabela's. The other thing is I've tested a few different types of eggs, and I got to tell you, the Ova Easy egg crystals are hands down the best tasting eggs I've ever tried. They taste exactly like fresh eggs. They're very easy to reconstitute with just water, quick and easy to prepare. And right here in this package, I've got 840 total calories, which is excellent. And one of, obviously, a backpacker's favorite, carry plenty of beef jerky, quick, easy, tasty, and satisfying pick-me-up. And then I've got plenty of organic granola bars of assortment to carry as well. So moving on to hydration, I've got, my plan is to bug out with about 64 ounces or more of water per day for a 72-hour period. I know that's a bit light. Most people say you need about a gallon of water a day, but I think at a minimum, my plan is, because of the weight concerns and the fact that I do have other options, which I'll get into later in dealing with finding water sources and making sure that they're clean, in terms of the amount of water I'm willing to carry, I think it's going to be about 64 ounces per day, so about a total of 192 ounces. So in order to do that, I've got a couple of these Naglean Canteen 96-ounce containers, and these things are phenomenal. They're super tough. They don't leak. You can actually put them inside of your backpack, and as I mentioned, they carry 96 ounces each. In addition to that, for a quick and foldable hydration option, I have the Platypus half-liter container, 17-ounce container. And then, of course, I've got the old standby, which is the Naglean 32-ounce jug wide mouth, which is my preference as well. And to make things easy, I carry a stainless steel cup. And this is really handy because the Naglean jug fits right into it, and then I can put it into the webbing that's on the side of my backpack, very quick and easy to carry and compact. And this stainless, this is a 16-ounce stainless steel cup. I can use it for measuring. I can use it for cooking. This is my go-to cup whenever I go camping, and I also have it as a critical component of my my bug out bag. So that's what we've got for food and hydration. Key component. I know I'm going to get a lot of feedback on that maybe I'm not carrying enough, or maybe there are other options. So I'd love to hear your comments and feedback on this. But this is what I have in stage 1, version 1 of my 72-hour bug out bag. Okay, so this is what's in the top pouch of the 72-hour bug out bag. Let's start left to right. I've got a survival fishing kit, and I don't know how useful this will be for a 72-hour bug out bag, but it's got literally everything in it for fishing, hook, line, and sinker. And it may not be useful for a 72-hour situation, but if you did think you were going to extend beyond that, this could certainly be a lifesaver. So I went ahead, and it comes in a nice Altoid-sized container. I went ahead and threw that in there. Moving on, I've got a 100-foot yank of genuine mil-spec paracord, and this is a 550 paracord. I highly recommend that you do the same, but you want to be careful because there's a lot of cheap junk out there. And so the stuff I'm using is highly recommended, the Titan paracord, genuine 550 paracord. So you want to have at least 100 feet in your kit, which I've got there. And I also have a military grade rain poncho, and this poncho is pretty cool because it has these grommets here that are spaced out, and it can be turned into a shelter pretty readily. So very, very key that you keep yourself dry, and so having a rain gear is critical. I've also thrown in here these Mylar blankets. These are really very cheap and inexpensive, but I tell you, they are amazing in terms of ability to retain heat, and also can be turned into a quick emergency shelter as well. They expand into a full-size blanket. So I've got a couple of these in there, very small, and I've also put in a couple of bandanas. And bandanas are useful for a number of things. So obviously, you can look cool and throw it in your pocket, but you'll also want to maybe on a hot day make them wet and put them on your head. And then finally, they're great for filtering questionable water supplies, such as stuff that might have dirt and debris in it, before you run it into your purification step. So multiple uses for bandanas, so I highly recommend you have a couple of those in your kit. And if you think the banks and the ATMs are going to be open, you might want to think again. I would have at least a couple, $200 to $300, if not more, in cash in a Ziploc bag, along with a roll of quarters, so that you can pay for things if the banking systems are down. People are only going to be accepting cash, and potentially if you need to make a phone call or want to operate some vending machines, you've got the quarters to do that. Now, crucial component is that you include a medical kit in your bug out bag, and I've got one that's highly recommended from Adventure Medical Kits. I love this thing. It's complete, it's compact, and this particular one is designed for up to 4 people. I've got 4 people in my family, so and it's just the right size for me. So I've gone ahead and made the investment in that. And in addition to that, I decided to go ahead and grab a 36-inch spool of surgical tubing. And this surgical tubing could be used from everything such as making a tourniquet to turning it into a slingshot. So a lot of cool things you can do with surgical tubing. Moving on, I've got a sewing kit. That's pretty obvious what that's for. And then I also have these N95 masks, and I think you've been hearing a lot about avian flu, about enterovirus, and now most recently about Ebola. And so having these N95 masks to protect yourself and prevent you from inhaling one of these pathogens could be literally quite literally lifesaver. Something interesting: the price of the N95 masks I noticed on Amazon just recently, after we had the first case of Ebola in the U.S., jumped by a factor of 2. So I think they went from like $25 for 20 up to $45 or so for 20. So, and last but not least, I've got some cheapo sunglasses. I think you should always keep a set of sunglasses in your bug out bag, keep them somewhere where they won't get crushed, obviously. But this is a $20 pair. It's got the UV and polarization, and it has its own little sock to put it in. And you want to protect your head, you want to protect your eyes, you want to protect your skin, you want to keep your core temperature up, but eye protection certainly is going to be a key component of it. So that's what's in the top pouch. Let's move on to the main compartment. Okay, now we're in the main compartment of the bug out bag, and I'm going to go again from left to right here. I've got some nice Columbia lightweight hiking pants, and it's important that the clothing that you select here is made of moisture wicking material, that it's not made of cotton. Cotton can kill you if it gets wet and you get cold, and can cause hypothermia and then death very rapidly. So critical that you get moisture wicking. Typically it's polyester or some kind of fleece material that is going to not conduct away your heat and conduct in the cold to your body and cause your core temperature to drop. So so I've got the Columbia hiking pants. These are great because these also zip off. The legs zip off and this turns into shorts. Maybe these are old guy pants, but I tell you, they're really comfortable and I love them. So I think they're about $39 on Amazon.com. I also found on Amazon some great 70% wool socks. So I've got 3 pairs of socks that will keep my feet nice and toasty and comfortable if I have to hike quite a distance. I am here in the Colorado Rockies, so it's very likely that I could find myself in cold weather, and I want to make sure that my feet are kept nice, dry. And if they do get wet, the wool will also help to keep them warm despite the moisture. In addition to that, I've got, again, moisture wicking underwear or t-shirts included in the kit. And I don't know how this got included in this particular video, but I also, as you saw in a previous video, I have a rain poncho that has grommets and the ability to turn it into potentially a shelter. I've also included a tarp. This is an 8x10 tarp, very high quality nylon, ripstop nylon tarp that also has grommets that I could very quickly and easily turn into a quick shelter as well. So I went ahead. It folds down pretty nicely. It does add a little extra weight, but I thought it was worthwhile to include in this bug out bag. Moving along, we've got a very nice wool hat with a felt lining. I went ahead and splurged on this one. Felt really that I wanted a high quality wool hat to keep my head warm. In addition to that, if it's sunny and hot outside, you're going to want to have some kind of head covering. So I've got this crushable hat. I call this my Gilligan's Island hat that I've included in here. And this is a military style cap. It's got ventilation holes in it. So I highly recommend that you have something to keep your head, protect you from the sun, and prevent you from getting sunburn. Very important. If you're going to be out there potentially in the backwoods and chopping wood and working out there, you want to protect your hands and protect them from blistering. So having some work gloves, and these are relatively inexpensive work gloves you can find on Amazon as well, that I've included in my kit. If it is cold out there, you're going to want to make sure that you include some kind of warm weather gloves, and these are rag wool gloves that I found actually at the local sporting goods store. And I found these at REI actually, and I thought they were a good deal, so I went ahead and grabbed those to throw those in the kit. And finally, I've got 2 different types of jackets and then a rain shell. So I thought it was important to have a sort of a 200 weight or a middle weight fleece coat that I could put on. So again, I'm thinking layers here. So I've got the shirt that can wick away moisture very easily but keep me warm even if it gets wet. I've got a 200 or middle weight fleece jacket. I picked up this one at REI. It was a pretty good deal. And then I also found a pretty good deal on a North Face heavyweight, what I would call maybe the 300 weight fleece jacket. And these things do take up quite a bit of room, but I tell you, if you get cold, you're going to want to have these layers to put on, and they are crushable and they are compressible, so you can get these compression socks. I did not include those in this kit because it wasn't required for me to fit everything in my backpack, but I'm considering it, so it's something that you may want to consider as well. And then finally, to keep the rain away, although I do have a poncho, as I mentioned in a previous segment, I went ahead and grabbed one of these Marmot rain shells, and this shell has a hood. Let me see if I can spread it out a little bit. It has it's very lightweight. It folds up nicely. It has a hood, and it would go over, say, the fleece jacket that I put on. So I have multiple layers that I can put on or take off as necessary, and all of this will compress down very nicely and fit into the bug out bag. So that's it primarily from a clothing standpoint. You might ask me, Buck, where's your underwear? I do. There's actually some briefs built into these Columbia hiking pants. But given that this is a 72-hour bug out bag, probably could throw in a couple underwear. I'll obviously be wearing some underwear when I walk out with this bag. But I think this is a good start as a base set for the version 1 of Bug Out Bag. All right, we'll continue on in the next section here. There are a few items that are left in the main compartment. Okay, we're at the home stretch. So I've got a bunch of cooking gear in my main compartment, and some of this is pretty obvious. So I've got a nice stainless steel bowl, stainless steel plate. I know this weighs a little bit extra. There are plastic variants available. I just liked having the durability of stainless steel. In addition to that, I splurged and got 2 different types of stoves. I've got this Solo stove, and you see that it's already battle tested. The Solo stove, the only fuel that you need for a Solo stove are twigs. So as long as you've got some dry twigs and some tinder, you'll be able to light this up and it'll boil water lickety split. So I love this stove. It actually folds up and stores very compactly into this little storage bag here. Along with a Solo also makes a nice 3-pot set. And I tell you, in addition to that drinking pot that I showed you earlier that goes on the Nagleen water jug, having this 3-pot cooker, and again, you can see that it's already battle tested from a recent camping trip. And it also has a lid which makes a very nice fry skillet, and then a nice little skeletonized handle to go along with it. This all stores in a nice Solo stove bag as well. So I love that. And if you don't have dry twigs available, you still want to be able to heat water. So I also am including a chemical stove in my kit. And this folds up almost about the size of a pack of cards. So you got a very tiny little stove that operates on these fuel briquettes. And you can light these. These pocket stoves are very, very popular. It's called an S-bit stove, and this takes up very little space inside of your bug out bag. So I recommend having at least one chemical or fuel-based, artificial fuel-based stove, or in this case, these chemical briquettes. And then I love the Solo stove because you can always find twigs somewhere and have an unlimited supply of fuel as long as it's dry. So we've got both. Moving along, I do have the bandanas, but these are coffee filters, and I wanted to have a few coffee filters in case I wanted to use these instead of the bandanas to filter water and filter out sediment, dirt, debris, etc. that might be in water that I'm going to purify. And that's what we're going to get to next, the purification step. I've got two things. One is I'm going to bring some water with me, as I mentioned. I'm going to bring those 2 96-ounce Nagleen canteens and the Nagleen 32-ounce jug that I showed you in a previous video. But in addition to that, I'm going to plan on finding water sources and being able to clean that water. Very, very important. So I'm going to filter the water, remove any sediment and dirt, and then I'm going to either apply, these are Israeli water purification tablets. I've got, I believe, 50 effervescent tablets in this. So this will treat several liters of water, quite a bit of water. If I choose to. But in addition to that, I've got this nice Katadyn water purification system, and this will basically take some of the nastiest water that you can run across, inhale it, and spit out pure, clean, fresh drinking water. So highly recommended item for backpackers. And so it's designed to be compact, lightweight, and it has its own little storage container as well. So I decided to include that in my kit so that I have several different backup systems for my critical item, which is hydration. I'm carrying fresh water. I have front-end filtration, as well as the ability to purify with tablets if necessary, chemically purify, as well as I think this is a 0.3 micron filter that will filter out all of the nasties, Giardia, and other types of pathogens that might be in the water, so that you have fresh drinking water without even requiring any water purification tablets. So very handy. And so that's it for the cooking and hydration side of things. Let's move on to the final step and see what the balance of the items are that we have in our kit. Okay, next up we've got some personal hygiene items that are included in the main compartment. I've got some camp suds. This is perfect for washing dishes. Came in very handy in our last camping trip, and so I went ahead and included a small bottle in the bug out bag. I've got a bar of soap, and this is my utility soap. This is for bathing if necessary, for washing my hair. I don't use shampoo, and I love natural soap like Dr. Bronner's. So got a bar of this in there. I usually put that into a Ziploc bag. Very important if you're out maybe in the summertime, got a lot of mosquitoes and bugs biting, having some kind of insect repellent. And I've got this natural Herbal Armor DEET, D-E-E-T, free pump spray. So I highly recommend this. We use this a lot for our family, so I've included that in the kit. Of course, you want to keep your breath minty and your teeth healthy and your breath minty fresh. So I've got the toothbrush and toothpaste. Also, for bathing, you want to have some towels, and I found this sort of survival towel that I thought was really interesting. I went ahead and broke one of these open when we went camping, and these were great little towels, very compact. This is a beach towel size, and this is sort of a hand towel size, but they compress and are incredibly light and tiny in the backpack, and then they blow up into a full-size towel. So I would recommend that. This is called the Wickable Survival Towel, so I'll include a link to that. Include some dental floss with the dental care items, and of course you'll want to have a roll of toilet paper. And don't go and buy the camping toilet paper that they overcharge you for a tiny little roll in a package. Just throw a roll into a Ziploc bag and away you go. And speaking of toilet paper, you probably, in case you're not going to lug a toilet with you, in case you have to dig a small latrine, I went ahead and decided to include a collapsible shovel in my kit. Now I'm kind of on the fence on this because it does take up more space and it is rather heavy because this is sort of a durable heavy grade steel, but I'm going to go ahead and include it in version 1. I do reserve the right to change this in maybe a later version of the 72-hour bug out bag. And then finally, for this set, I've decided to include a 1-gallon Ziploc bag that has a couple of 1-gallon Ziploc bags, as well as some large construction grade trash bags, and these can be used for everything from creating shelters to as a quick latrine to using as a poncho, as an emergency poncho if necessary. So I think it's good to keep these in the kit. They do take up a little bit of space. I put 2 or 3 of them in this 1-gallon bag and threw that in the kit as well. So we've got one last video, and then we'll be able to wrap up the 72-hour bug out bag. We'll see you there. Okay, Survival Dads, we now have what I call the miscellaneous items. Many of these were in the bottom section of the bug out bag. And last but not least, because there are some critical items here. Number 1, I've got a 20-degree down-filled, sort of waterproof down-filled sleeping bag, and this is a mummy style bag. Now this is what I'm calling my level 1 or stage 1 of the 72-hour bug out bag. In maybe a more advanced version of the bug out bag, I would include things such as a 4 or an all-season tent, but I decided to keep this one lightweight. Well, lightweight. This bag, all told, is over 48 pounds, so it's not very light. But I'm going to keep this very basic. So right now I've got the 20-degree down-filled, waterproof down-filled mummy-style sleeping bag included in the kit. And this is compressible. This is not compressed yet, so it can go even smaller than this. And then in addition, we talked about my firearm earlier, which was the Glock 17. Very important to include some ammunition. I've got 200 rounds of the Spear Gold Dot Law Enforcement 124 grain jacketed hollow point plus P ammunition, and this is the same ammunition that police officers use. This has the stopping power of a standard 45 round in a 9mm form factor, so highly recommended, and you want to make sure you have enough of it, and I've got 200 rounds here. In addition to that, I've got my MacGyver tape, which is my duct tape, of course, 1,001 uses. So you want to make sure you include a roll of that. In addition, I think it's important to be able to jot down notes of location and other information, and do it in a waterproof context. So this is actually a waterproof notebook that you can take notes in the middle of a driving rain. And here is a waterproof pen that actually can function underwater. So underwater and upside down, believe it or not, called a space pen. So these two items are recommended to include in the kit. Just for completeness and maybe sentimental reasons, I don't have any cans for weight purposes included in the bug out bag, but just in case we do come across a store and they have some canned foods and we want to obtain some, that's all they have left, then I want to make sure I have a way to open the cans, and so I've included these GI style can openers in the kit. And if the kids are getting a little bored, a little fussy, then you'll want to also include a set of playing cards. And so I've got a set in there to make the time pass by a little quicker. And if you want to keep an eye on things and make sure that you know where you're headed and also who might be headed your way, then I would recommend including a set of binoculars. I don't usually see binoculars in people's lists for 72-hour bug out bags, but I decided to include it in mine, and I like this particular set. This is a Pentax high quality 8x42 relatively inexpensive set of binoculars, so highly recommended. And then last but not least is a waterproof container to store your personal documents. And the critical documents that you're going to want to include your medical, your financial, and your identification documents. So anything regarding your bank accounts, your brokerage accounts, your savings accounts, your identification, copies of your driver's license, your passport, your birth certificate, your social security card, and then any pertinent medical records. If you have any medical conditions and you want to have records of that, I would keep all of that in this waterproof container. And this is actually designed, I think, for use at sea. It's a very high quality unit, and you can get it in various sizes. I got sort of the large size, and I've got copies of the documents in here. So that wraps it up. Let me flip the camera around and do a little sign off here. I'm really excited about what we've just talked about with the 72-hour Survival Dad bug out bag. So there you have it, the Survival Dad 72-hour bug out bag. Every single item on this list is an item that I have thoroughly researched and personally own. There are a couple of items that I've not been able to field test just yet, such as the Israeli water purification tablets, but most of the items I have field tested either in a camping or hiking scenario, and I feel very, very good about them. If there's opportunities to improve the items in the checklist, I will be doing so and updating this video and updating the checklist as we go forward. There is a PDF file that's available for download along with this video that has a checklist of, I will call it the cheat sheet, that allows you to very quickly and easily see the items by category and purchase them online if you choose to do so. I also have a comment section below, and I very much look forward to hearing from you. So if you have any comments, feedback, ways that we can improve the Survival Dad 72-hour bug out bag, then please let me know. I read every single comment. I may not be able to respond to every comment, but I do read every comment, and I look forward to your feedback. That's it for now. Enjoy the Survival Dad 72-hour bug out cheat sheet. I do urge you to, if you don't have your 72-hour bug out bag set up, go ahead and set that up as a first step. That's the first step on your journey towards self-reliance and being prepared for whatever might come. So please don't put that off. Please leave your comments below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks again. This is Buck Rizvi, Survival Dad, signing out. I'll see you next time.